Hey, welcome back to Delectable You. Today we are making gluten-free, tortilla-less enchiladas with sweet potatoes and butternut squash. I got the recipe from this awesome cookbook. It's called The Thug Kitchen. It's a vegan cookbook that's very cheeky and very awesome. I highly recommend you get it. I adapted the recipe so that it would be gluten-free and vegan, and it's so delicious. You can make this as a main meal or as a side dish. It's great for your upcoming Thanksgiving celebrations. We're going to do it in 3 steps. We're going to roast the sweet potatoes and the butternut squash. We're going to caramelize some onions, and we're going to make the enchilada sauce. Then we're going to marry them all together, and it's going to be wonderful. So let's start with these sweet potatoes and butternut squash. Okay, so I've already preheated the oven to 375 Fahrenheit. And as you can see, I've pre-cut a half of a medium-sized butternut squash into these half-inch cubes. And I've taken about 5 to 6 medium-sized sweet potatoes, and I have cut those up into cubes as well. I peeled the butternut squash, but I did not peel the sweet potatoes. It's less work not to peel the sweet potatoes, and I like the skin anyway, so you can do whatever you please. So I put this in a baking dish. I put it in a baking dish because we're going to put some enchilada sauce on this later. So if you put it on a baking sheet, the enchilada sauce is going to go all over the place and it's going to be a mess. So put your sweet potatoes and butternut squash in a baking dish. To this, you're going to add a teaspoon of sea salt, a teaspoon of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of garam marsala. This is a wonderful mix of coriander and cinnamon and all sorts of other wonderful flavors that give it a little unique flair. And then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now you're going to get your hands dirty, mix everything all together so that everything gets coated. All right, that is mostly coated, so let's just spread these guys back out. Wash your hands because they're very dirty, and put this in the oven at 375 for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, our potatoes, our butternut squash, they're in the oven. Let's move on to step 2. We are going to take a medium-sized onion and slice it up like we've done a few times before, and we're going to caramelize it. So after you slice your onion, put about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of extra virgin olive oil in a skillet like this one on medium heat. And just put your onion in there. And we're just going to toss this around so that the oil and the onions can become more acquainted with each other. And then you're just going to keep tossing this, I'd say every 5 to 10 minutes for the entire time that the potatoes and the butternut squash are in the oven. And what we're looking for is nice brown caramelized onions. In the last minute that your onions are caramelizing, you're going to add 3 cloves of minced garlic. And you're just going to mix them around until you can smell the garlic, and then you're going to pull this off the heat. I'll show you what to do. Okay, so the third step of our enchiladas is, of course, we have to make the enchilada sauce. So grab yourself a saucepan, and you can do this on the stove or you can do it off the stove. It's going on the stove. You're going to add 2½ cups of veggie stock, 1/3 cup of tomato paste, 2½ tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon of our lovely garam marsala, 1½ teaspoons of dried oregano, 3 cloves of minced garlic. This is different from the garlic that's going in with the onions. And 2 teaspoons of tamari. I'm using tamari, which is wheat-free soy sauce. If you don't have a wheat allergy, you want to use soy sauce, you can. So let's transfer this over to the stove, and we're going to whisk this together on medium-high heat. All right, so let's turn our heat up to medium-high, and we just want to whisk this so that the tomato paste can disperse and get all in that sauce. And we're going to simmer this for 10 to 15 minutes just to thicken the sauce up. And everything should be ready at the same time. If for any reason your enchilada sauce is ready before your onions and your sweet potatoes and butternut squash, just turn it down to low and just let it stay warm until everything is ready. Okay, our potatoes and butternut squash are ready. Our enchilada sauce is ready. And in the last minute of cooking, let's just add in our 2 to 3 cloves of minced garlic to our caramelized onions and just stir this around. Let that go, and let's get our sweet potatoes and butternut squash out of the oven. Okay, so they're not going to be tender just yet because they need some sauce to go over them. So let's add our enchilada sauce. Just pour this all along here. Toss that around a little bit. And let's grab our onions and our garlic. And let's put this into the baking dish with our potatoes and our butternut squash. All right, now let's take a 15-ounce can of black beans that have been rinsed and drained, put those in, and then grab yourself some green chilies or jalapenos if you like spice. If you don't like spice, you can leave this out. And just put like 1/4 cup in there. I'm just gonna put this whole thing in. Okay. Now, let's toss this all together. All right, now just smooth it back out. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. Now let's put this back in the oven for about 20 minutes or until the butternut squash and the potatoes are nice and tender. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. That looks like a beautiful thing. It smells so good in here. I know, I always say that, but it's always true. This is going to be wonderful as a side dish if you want. You can also make it a main meal. What I do is I'll just add some avocado to it. You can also add some quinoa or some brown rice and just put it all in a bowl, and it's fantastic. If you want to finish it off with some toasted pumpkin seeds, I highly recommend it. It just adds like a nice little crunch. And if you want to add some green to it, you can also do maybe some fresh parsley or something. But whatever you do, I know that you're gonna love this dish. And that's it. So go ahead and make these, and I will see you here again next week. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Lauren with Delectable You. Have a lovely day.